Yo, this is a guide for Silent, and I'll be going over what cards you should be after for each build, then how they all play with each other, with timestamps in the description below. Enjoy. Starting off with the build that had the biggest glow up, Shivs. Shivs are a zero-cost attack that deal 4 damage and are produced by many cards, the most common ones being Leading Strike, Cloak and Dagger, and Blade Dance, with your best picks being Up My Sleeve, Infinite Blades, and Hidden Dagger. But with Shivs only dealing 4 damage, you have to make sure that you support it with an accuracy along the way. Speaking of support, Slay the Spire 2 added probably the best cards that Shiv builds could ask for, with Fan of Knives and Knife Trap, providing much needed coverage in multi-fights and an insane finisher, often dealing hundreds of damage. Now, I'm only going over what cards to be looking for right now, as I think that the Silence playstyle can only really be discussed once we cover all the builds. So, moving on to Poison, it deals damage at the end of your turn, basically acting as damage that ignores block and carries over to the next turn with almost no drop-off, building up nicely with Poison Stab, Deadly Poison, and Bouncing Flask. But when dealing with multiple enemies, Noxious Fume and Outbreak are great to pick up. And unfortunately, the strongest card from the first game, Catalyst, was removed. However, we got a replacement in the form of Accelerant, which basically triples poison damage, and it definitely plays nicer with the multiple enemies. But other than that, keep a lookout for Mirage and... But finally we have Sly, by far one of the best builds in the game. Discarding cards that play themselves for free, the core of this build is made with Prepared, Reflex, and Tactician, allowing you to refill on energy and cards for free, playing through your entire deck. And depending on how you build it, you can have payoffs using Sly itself, like Ricochet, Hand Trick, and Haze, or using Prepared, Reflex, and Acrobatics, you can have the card draw be the payoff, with Corrosive Wave and Speedster. Now, let's talk about the playstyles for each build, and why I think Silent is a bit different from the other characters. Starting with Shivs, you want to make as many as you can while trying to buff their damage through cards like Accuracy and Expose. And because you play so many of them, Finisher is, well, a great finisher, along with Envenom being a boss killer. But for defense, After Image works especially great for Shivs. But other than that, there's no Shiv specific block, so just generic good cards like Blur should be good. Moving to Poison, try to stag as much as you can, and once you have a consistent enough source, Bubble Bubble is a great option. And once you've stacked enough, you can just sit back and play defensively and let the poison kick in. Like before, Mirage is one of the best cards to use when stalling out, and paired with Blur, you can carry over the 100 or so block Mirage would give you. And finally, Sly. Obviously, try to get the core cards of Prepared, Reflex, and Tactician, but because you won't always have those cards to refill, Acrobatics and Backflip are great ways to refill cards as well. And once you have enough of those, you can cycle through your deck, either killing with Flick Flack and Ricochet, or going all in with the cycling and killing through Speedster and Corrosive Wave. By themselves, each build is pretty simple. Shivs just need to make Shivs, Poison just needs to stack Poison, and Sly just needs to draw and discard the right cards. But where the Silent really shines is combining these builds, more so than any other character, and at the core of it is Sly. What Sly provides is not just a way to cheat the cost on cards, but a way to filter them. Cards like Prepared are so strong because it gives you free card filtering. Sure, it does make you go down a card in hand, but how many times do you get the perfect hand, or even play every card you have in hand? But even if you can't use that to its fullest potential, Silent has the best cards that bridge the gap between builds, with the easiest examples being Phantom Blades and Snakebite. And if you're enjoying the video so far, consider subscribing. Starting with combining Sly with Shivs, Phantom Blades and Hidden Daggers both work better than you think, as giving Retain to Shivs allow you to use them as fuel for discard in the cases where you do want to play everything in hand, while also giving an upside of dealing extra damage when you keep them if you already know you're not going to win this turn. While Hidden Daggers is a zero-cost way to trigger Sly while also supplying Shivs. On the other hand, if Shivs aren't the main game plan, Phantom Blades still work great to get extra cards to offset the loss from Prepared, and Storm of Steel works great to just trigger all the Sly cards while offering damage in situations where you run out of cycling or just need a little bit more damage to cross the finish line. Moving on to Sly and Poison, you already have two great cards you can slot in with no problem, Haze and Corrosive Wave, while Snakebite serves as the carryover card advantage I talked about with Phantom Blades. But other than those cards, using a Poison majority gets most of their benefits from the card filtering, or AoE stacking damage with a Sly majority. I think that Poison with Sly is a bit worse than with Shivs, but both are just a straight upgrade. Sly is just something you should be adding to any of your decks because it provides free card filtering and discard. It might be worse against enemies like Hunter Killer than any pure build, but you can always find the cards you need quicker and use status and curse cards as fuel, often dodging their effects while getting cards out of them. Sly is just the best way to take advantage of the card filtering that every deck wants. But that's everything for today. I've done a guide for every character now, so let me know if you'd want to see guides on other aspects of the game, or maybe even some gameplay. But thank you for watching.